What or not it really was, brother, brother, what it was, what it was, what it was, what it was, what it was. Why do I sing at the beginning? Because it's a good time for everybody to think about singing in your car right now. If I could sing in front of 1,000 people and sound like an idiot, you could sing in your car and have a good time. You could have a good time on the freeway and not worry about getting cut off by a semi. Don't worry about the semis, it might run off the road. Yeah! Are y'all wearing headphones? What's up, Internet? What's going on, Internet? How you doing today? We're back. It's Monday, and I'm just as crazy as always. Big shout out to Oddball Aquatics for being first to the chat today, quickly followed by Bentley Pascal, Alyssa Bentley, Noob Phobo, Danielle Edwards. What's up, Danielle? Good to see you. James Neesham is here, but gots to go. James Leiser is here. Good to see you, buddy. Big Jerem 86 in the house. Rocky's Rocky. M Howie 9. What's up, buddy? Can't we? I'm gonna see M Howie at the end of the week. That's gonna be fun. All right. I ain't mincing words, bruz. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna be flying on a jet plane. Gone Mad is here. Chad Krotz, what's up? M Howie 9 with the early super chat, bruh. He's coming in with the early $4.99 super chat. Straight out the gate. Says, awesome tip on the Plasti Dip for painting the backgrounds. Much better than the oil-based paint I was using. The Earl-based paint. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm saying. But, yeah, the Plasti Dip, honestly, is kind of the best thing to do as far as painting glass backgrounds on aquariums. If you're trying to do that, the Plasti Dip is just kind of the best thing. There's some other brands with different names that are the same kind of stuff. It's essentially a elastomeric plastic paint. I forget. I don't produce it, so I don't know everything about it. I don't have the MSDS sheet memorized, but it's good stuff, and it works great. It is the best thing, and then you can also take it off. You can peel it off and change colors as you like, as many times as you want, as many colors as they have. You know, I try to go with the light gray if I'm going to do that, personally, at this point in time. But the black is always classic. As you guys know, I've got the two new acrylic aquariums in the fish room, and I cannot wait to be just doing stuff with those and putting out videos on those. Shooting the videos are coming along, but those have the classic black background. That's the only reason I brought it up. But those are coming, and it's very exciting. Let's see. Fish Ion Tank Ticks. What's up? Fun Dip. He's got Fun Dip right now. The early chat today was all about that Fun Dip. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced Fun Dip before, but it is like powdered sugar in these little packets, and then you got a sugar stick that you dip in there and eat it. It's a treat for the kids. It's not great for anybody. I mentioned in the early chat I'm going to try to keep that away from my daughter, things like that. I would prefer her to be on the somebody that's into honey and dark chocolate and things like that. But, we'll see how it goes. You just never know. Oh, hold on. Whoa, buddy. That was a crazy sneeze. Hopefully I didn't blow anybody's ears out. As you guys know, I went and got my flu shot on Friday. And this weekend was all sorts of interesting because of that. Another fun point, you guys. I don't know if you can tell, but I savagely, I was working doing some insulation stuff late last week, and I went to go clean my glasses after being in an attic, and I'm thinking that the fiberglass or something that was there just savagely scratched my glasses. So it is virtually... so what I did is I had to take some buffing compound to this lens and buff out some of the scratches. So if it looks like... If you guys see me today and I'm like squinting at things and like looking at them funny and stuff, that's why I completely ruined my my glasses, which is funny because I went to go order some new glasses. You know, I was like, man, maybe I can just overnight and maybe I can overnight some glasses and maybe, you know, get somebody that can make glasses next day. I've done that in the past. You know, here's the problem. I went to those guys, and my prescription has, with air quotes, expired. So I was unable to fill that. So tomorrow, I have the first appointment of the day to go get my eyes checked, and somebody give me a current prescription so that hopefully I can call in an order for some next day frames by Wednesday, which I'm gearing up to leave on Wednesday to go out to the aquatic experience. Well, who else is going to be at the aquatic experience? I know M. Howie 9 is going to be there, which is always good times, but I have to try and get some overnight spectacle glasses so that while I'm at the aquatic experience, I can see out of my right eye. It's kind of slowing me down a little bit. I do have another pair of glasses, but they are so old that the prescription is not legit. So I could see why the prescription would expire, because they're like, dude, your eyes have changed. Stop ordering the same stupid glasses. And of course they want to check and make sure I don't have glaucoma and all that nonsense. So let's get done with the saying howdy here and catch up with the chat. Too Real for YouTube is here. Nick's Fish Room is here. Chad Krotz, which I already said. Gone Mad, who I already said. Rogue Aquariums, what's up, my guy? Daryl Deemer is here. Valerie Van Zyl, Brian's Fish Tanks. What's up, Brian? Good to see you. Danny Shelton, Marky's Hog. Interesting. It's an interesting name. I've never read that one before. Gar, Graphic Aquatics and Reptiles. What's up, my guy? Good to see you. Danny Shelton, Megan Ness, Uwe Deloriac Peterson is here. Petsotics. Oh, man, I like that. Petsotics. That's nice. Carson Anderson is here. Fancy Tail Aquatics is here. Beach Night Production. Hey, buddy, thanks for the great podcast for my water changes. Yes, as you guys know, these episodes are going up in the podcast format, so I guess if you want to download them and listen to them in your car, you can also download them from YouTube. There is a if you go into a video, there's a download button that you could download off of YouTube. That's an option too. But I think we're on Podbean, I believe is who the host is. Some of our lovely Oceaneers, Alvin and Dan Squires, are handling the upload on that. So big shout out, thank you to those guys for hooking up the people that want to just only do the podcast. Ricardo Bayonet is here. Jack Suarez, Raccoon Creek Aquatics, Matt Sorelli, Daniel Edwards. Okay, I just got to get down here and try and catch up, because I'm like way behind. I just got to scroll down here. If I missed anybody, sorry about that. It's all on purpose. Oh, I see Joel Gillett. There he is. He's lurking and working. Stay busy, buddy. Let's see. Raccoon Creek Aquatics asking right off the gate here, what do you think about building racking to hold tanks perpendicular to the wall instead of parallel? Increases your capacity to hold more tanks. Yeah, I've done that before in the past. As you guys know, I lived in some crazy apartments and stuff like that in the past and had to make use of space. And I actually had my old beta breeding racks and stuff were built like that. They were going long ways because it was just the best way to set them up. You could definitely fit more up against a wall. I've done that before. And the only downside is that it does kind of become difficult dealing with stuff at the back. I don't know. I guess maybe that's a downside. And the other downside would be you can't really aquascape them. But if you're just doing breeding projects anyhow, it's great to set up tanks that way. And ultimately, it's kind of the best way to do it if you are just breeding. Bentley Pascal's in the chat. He's got a bunch of his breeding tanks set up that way, going long ways. Like the 10 gallons, even if you're just doing the 10 gallons, you can fit more. I forget. Let's check. Let's check with the measuring here with the internet. 10. Whoops, that's not 10. That's 10-gallon aquarium dimensions. There we go. Let's see what we got here. Just to double check and make sure, they're 20 inches wide by 10 inches by 12 inches, which is what I thought, but wanted to double check here and make sure, and I don't want to misquote, say something wrong, because, people will be like, hey, all the other stuff you've ever said obviously is ridiculous because just one time you screwed up on trying to remember the measurement of 10-gallon tanks that you don't even own anymore. Because some people's is trip, and oh my gosh, you guys, I totally forgot that I had one of these. What did I need one of these for? I'm hooking up my. So, as you guys know, I'm always trying to take my filmography, videography, whatever you want to call it, up to the next level, and I got a manual slider. So I found basically like a slider online that you can take the camera and slide it this way. It's a manual one. It's not. It was like $20, and of course it didn't come with anything to attach to a tripod or anything like that other than just a stagnant screw. So I was looking for one of these, and I was like, I don't have one. And then lo and behold, it's sitting right next to the mouse. How odd is that? What a weirdo. What a weirdo, you guys, I am, Speaking of weirdos, something I wanted to mention last night. I know that this isn't a football show. I am going to talk about something related to football here for a second, and then I'll segue into another thing in regards to that. But I don't know if anybody watched the Patriots and Kansas City Chiefs game last night. I did, and I'm not even going to talk about the football. It doesn't even have the thing that I had to talk about doesn't have anything to do with the football. It has to do with the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, Mr. Andy Reid himself. From all accounts, just a fantastic dude. He's just a big guy that looks like a walrus, and he's been a coach like forever, and he's definitely been. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But the thing that I noticed about it is that every time they cut to Andy Reid, the coach who's coaching a football team in the NFL, there really isn't that many of those jobs. Every time they cut to him, he's over there looking at his call playing sheet. Every time, like it's as if he's got a book like this, right? And then let's say that this is his call playing sheet, right? He's got his call playing sheet with a book behind it, and he's literally just hanging out on the sideline like, oh, that's what happened in 1748. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. Yep. All right. And I just was cracking me up. I swear, every time they cut to the guy, it just looks like he's reading a book. It was very odd. Very interesting. Now, the reason that I kind of brought that up was something that I noticed was a little bit weird. But Andy Reid is associated with the coaching tree of Mike Holmgren, who was hired by Paul Allen. And the unfortunate news is that Paul Allen has passed away, as far as I can tell. I don't know if it's a hoax or anything like that, but as far as I can tell, everyone is reporting that Paul Allen has passed away. If you don't know who Paul Allen is, a very important figure, one of the guys who started Microsoft. He's a very important figure in the Northwest, where I live here in the United States, the Pacific Northwest, the specific Northwest, right? And it seems like everybody's saying that he actually did pass away, and it's very sad. He's somebody who was heavily involved in developing a lot of things around Seattle, Portland, all the areas around here. Whether you liked him or not, his influence will continue on for a very long time, and it's unfortunate to hear that he passed away. And my condolences to anybody out there who's upset about it. It's just sad to see a guy who was pretty, not necessarily progressive, but he was involved. He was involved in the area, as far as developing new whatever companies, businesses, sports teams, all sorts of stuff. He was definitely involved in a lot of things. So it's unfortunate to see him go, because it seemed like he had good intentions. I got to meet him on 2 occasions because of the South Lake Union development stuff that I was involved with a long time ago. So when was that? 2003? So like 15 years ago? They were developing, if you don't know the obviously a lot of people don't know the geography around here, but South Lake Union is the lake, the southern part of the lake that is really close to Seattle. And it had always been just this kind of a dumpy part of town. Like there was just old empty warehouses and kind of just like illicit behavior going on for a long time. And he was one of the guys that, had a plan to start developing that area down there, and then did it. And then after he did it, basically other groups stepped in and forced a lot of changes down there, so that now that South Lake Union is like a super ritzy area, which I don't think that was ever the intention. Like I said, I briefly got to meet Paul Allen, but we were there for his presentation on what he was doing to develop South Lake Union. And honestly, the intention and the plans and everything down there was to help out a lot of the younger community. People would be able to buy a place to live at a lower market value, and eventually some of those big, investment groups and stuff came in and bought up all the buildings and turned them into like luxury suites instead of lofts, which is kind of crazy, but sorry to see him go. Beach Night Production has a question real quick. I've been dosing Flourish Iron in my 120 gallon. Shortly after dosing, my tank gets cloudy. I've read that this is quite common with higher GH. Mine is around 11 degrees. Yeah, that's honestly, like, how do you avoid that? Well, one of the things that I used to do is, the easiest thing that I always found with Flourish Iron, the iron specifically, is iron would send things like kind of out of whack. And I sort of walked away from dosing iron into a Planet Aquarium. And the reason why is because in the area that I live in, basically the only thing that is really shows up in my water here on a regular basis is actually iron. And so I basically was like double dosing. So that would be the first thing I would check if I was in your situation, right? Would be like, is there already iron in the water change water that's going on? But another thing I used to do with the actual, the Flourish Iron, that actual brand, would be I would like take a half of a 5-gallon bucket or 3 gallons or whatever, I'd just put water into a bucket, dump it in there, leave it in there overnight, and then dose it the next day. But, it's the one thing that I don't have to dose all that much, because it's the TDS that is in the water here is essentially, chlorine from the water treatment plant and iron. That's like the only thing that's really in the water around here. So, but that was the one way around that I found, was just to like let it settle out in water overnight and then dump that in, and it wouldn't go totally crazy. So, Tampa Tom says, covered in thin set, but I still picked up the phone and turned Eminem off Pandora and you on YouTube. Thumbs up, I'm over here. Okay. I just realized, like, okay, I was trying to read that statement. You got to turn off the Eminem and turn on turn on the show, whatever this is, the live stream. I guess this is the live stream show. Rogue Aquarium, so the $4.99 super chat saying, here's something for a bottle of Novus for my glasses. Yeah. If you guys weren't here earlier for the glasses situation, I have to order some new glasses, and this sucks. It's going to be a lot of money out of pocket, but it's just life sometimes. Sometimes you just have to deal with this kind of stuff. I basically scratched my glasses terribly and then buffed them out a little bit so that I can see okay, but they're just totally screwed up. I have to go get my eyes checked out because my prescription recently expired, so I couldn't just overnight and order some glasses. Although there is a local place, from my understanding, that will be able to make some glasses same day, so hopefully I'll be able to handle that. And, you know, I'll just have to put it on my credit card and figure it out later, and that'll be fine. Get it sorted, you know. We'll get that sorted out. Jack Suarez says Paul Allen has a huge yacht by us in St. Petersburg, Florida. Everyone knows his boat. Yes, he does have a gigantic boat. My buddy Paul used to fix that boat whenever that boat had problems. So fly wherever that thing is and fix it. Paul's a cool guy. So Paul for Paul, you know what I mean? Hey, whatever, we got to go to the video. Boom. Video time. Okay, we're going to let the video play in the background and catch up on some of the rest of the chat here. I have to move the chat out of the way so that we can go to the video, and then that's the deal. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the deal. That's how it goes. I got to move the... What is going on with this camera? How does it like, get moved? Hello. There we go. All right. So Gillett says, back when I didn't have perfect vision, he says, I always found Autica.net exceptionally good for well-priced, legit glasses. Yeah, I need to get some, like, same day because I'm going to be going to the Aquatic Experience. I don't know if you guys have heard about the Aquatic Experience. I don't know. Have you guys mentioned or heard Aquatic Experience stuff? Right? You know. Chicken Joe is here saying, what up, Fish Fam? It's been a good minute. I miss you guys. Well, thanks for showing up. Pete Berlinski just showed up. Good to see you, buddy. Got the video rolling in the background, as you guys noticed from the title and probably the thumbnail. The thumbnail picture. We're aquascaping in a reef today, bros. That's what we got going on. As you guys know, we went through the crazy disaster that was the 180-gallon reef. You know, I accidentally left the top off water on for hours and hours and hours and basically destroyed the 180. Although the plans were to move the 180 to this 60-gallon anyhow, so it's probably not, it's probably not the worst deal in the world. I mean, it was sad that things died. That ultimately was like really the bad of it. Is that some of my favorite fish that I've had for quite a while passed away, and that just kind of sucks, like but there isn't much I can do about that. I can't bring them back from the dead. I don't know how to do that yet. Maybe the new Pet Cemetery movie will help me out with that. But we got it all moved over here, and the rocks and everything are just really in the they're just really not in the right spot, honestly. They're just, they're not where they need to be. I kind of just had to happenstance them in here. And I know that most everybody out there is a Planet Tank enthusiast that watches this show. I'm also a saltwater enthusiast, although I have I'm sort of just kind of not necessarily like walking away from saltwater tanks, but just taking a step back and running a smaller aquarium, and it's much more enjoyable at this point. I figured just to kind of show you guys, give you guys an overall appeal on, or give you guys an overall idea of what goes into actually aquascaping a reef tank. Maybe it's something that you never did or have never, been privy to or had the chance to do anything with. Bear in mind that the video, this will get cloudy as I really disturbed a lot of things. I will do a video highlighting all of the equipment on this tank. So if this is something that maybe somebody else out there wants to emulate or whatever, or if you are confused about equipment and stuff, I've definitely used a lot. I have used a lot of Reef equipment, and can hopefully give you guys at least a little bit of insight if you're maybe, making decisions on what you want to buy, how you want to filter your water, how you're going to do your water changes, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to do a quick video on that to give you guys a little walk around and maybe spark some ideas in your head, and make you kind of think about what you want to do or whatnot, if you do want to do. Amish Catfish is asking, what's the term for aquascaping saltwater? It is also aquascaping. It just happens to be aquascaping in saltwater. M. Howie says it better be salty or he's got a problem. That's right. It's I find that doing some of the saltwater stuff, first and foremost, is most easy for people to get into if you've already done a Planet Aquarium. So most people that have already done a Planet Aquarium, you're way ahead of the curve versus somebody who's just walking into it. If you're just walking into just out of the blue and decide to do a reef tank, there are a lot of things that are confusing, a lot of the equipment that doesn't make a lot of sense. But if you've already done a Planet Aquarium, you can start to understand that, like, oh, the calcium reactor runs just like a CO2 reactor. Oh, okay. It's like when you talk about filtration in a saltwater tank, the filtration is a little bit different, but it starts to make sense if you've already done a Planet Aquarium and you've been doing a lot of handling a lot of the biological filtration with extra rock in your sump or extra pumice or this or that. Then it starts to like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Cycling a tank, all that kind of stuff. There's a few other things that you have to test for, honestly, but if you've already been doing tests on your Planet Aquarium for nitrites, nitrates, all that kind of stuff, most of the tests are done the same way. So if you've already done reps on that kind of stuff, it's like, oh, the steps are just a little bit different. It's the same little vials, and you got to put 3 drops in here and then add this in and all that kind of stuff. So it is pretty basic along those things. And then as far as the aquascaping goes, it is kind of a whole different world because you're not necessarily growing anything in the substrate. So if you're not growing anything in the substrate, that is probably the first and foremost big different thing. And then also with coral and stuff like that, the coral are essentially going to be your plants of the aquascape for a reef tank. So you got to think about color, what kind of corals you're going to grow. It's just the same thing as with plants. It's like, oh, am I going to do a high-tech Planet Aquarium, or am I going to do something that's low-tech that will be easier for me to maintain? Those two things are normally called SPS and LPS. That's sort of the differentiation abbreviation for corals. The easy way to remember, SPS, difficult. LPS, oh, hey, I could do that. So if you were to go to a reef store or something like that and you're like, hey, I'm kind of a novice, I want to try some stuff out, oftentimes the people there will give you a good idea of going like, oh, this will probably grow out of hand. This will probably get crazy. This might, you might not be happy with this after a year. Oh, these, and these might be a good direction for you to go. So oftentimes reef stores are a little more hands-on than the freshwater stores in that aspect. Often freshwater stores just have people working at them, from my experience. Whereas a reef store generally isn't going to have somebody that's not a coral enthusiast, like taking care of their coral section. A lot of people know that corals can be quite expensive. So if you have lots and lots of quite expensive things, you need somebody who does know, what they're doing to take care of them, more so than necessarily like a segment of a Walmart that has just some freshwater stuff at it, right? But you know, I find that to be kind of an upside because oftentimes a lot of the people that work at Reef stores are like, yeah, man, I've got this tank and this tank and this tank and this tank, and I'm doing this and I'm doing this project and I'm doing that project. And you're like, oh, cool, man. You guys are like way into this, you know. And sometimes when you go to a freshwater store, it's like, yeah, you want that one? Okay, it's in there. Let me get it. You know, kind of dudes working there or gals or whatever. So I do find that, you know, going to saltwater stores is a little more enjoyable to me because the people are a little more deeply involved in the hobby, just as a general, you know, just as a general advice or whatever. Megan Ness has a $5 super chat here. It says, can't wait for the aquatic experience. Do you know if the shrimp auction after the contest? The shrimp auction, I think, throughout the aquatic experience. I can't remember. I can't remember exactly if they sell during, which I think it's during, or after. I'm trying to remember. Trying to remember what it was last year. I wasn't trying to buy anything, so I wasn't super like paying attention last year. I guess I could message Chris and ask him what it's like. But I think it was they did the judging and then did the awards and then they auctioned them off. So I don't think they were like auctioned on Sunday. I think they were auctioned just after like all the awards were handed out, basically, which I think was Saturday. But I wouldn't necessarily quote me on that, so I don't know. I think, but a lot of them were auctioned off. I do know that, or they were just for sale. You know what I mean? That you could just inquire and buy the ones that you wanted. I do know that there will be a lot of people there, a lot of shrimp people there. I know that Flip Aquatics will be there, and he last year had a bunch of shrimp for sale. Like, so he had a ton of tanks set up with shrimp for sale. So that might be, I think if I was making a plan, my plan would be to go and check out what Flip Aquatics has. And I would plan to show up either first thing on a Friday, or show up Sunday and plan to hang out and see what's left. Because I know last year Flip Aquatics sold off the tanks that the shrimp were held in. So a lot of people got the tanks and stuff and bought the tanks off of them so that they didn't have to like drive them all the way back to Ohio Ohio, I think. Yeah. Speaking of Flip Aquatics, I haven't heard from that guy today, and I mailed him something. I wonder if he got it. Hold on. Let's check. Let's check what the post office says, you guys. Come on now. We're going to go ahead and open this up, and we're going to take a look. Take a look. It's in Facebook. It's a Facebook. It's a Facebook. Where is it? I know people have been messaging me a lot, so this will take a second. It'll take a second while we go through here. What is this doing? Okay, here we go. Oh, here we go. Oh. Copy. Hold on. Hold on. Paste. There we go. Let's look this up. Track it. Let's see. Let's see if it's arrived there or not. Uh-oh. What? How is that possible? What's the deal here? All right, hold on a second. Why is this not working? Oh, man. Why is this not working? Bah. All right, never mind. I was going to look it up, and I was going to see if we could find it. No, that's not correct. Hold on a minute. You guys, I'm just I'm playing on the internet while I'm trying to talk to you guys. And I get that's the number there. That's not. So let's copy that. Hold on. I want to track another package. There we go. Oh man, it's happening. We're gonna find out. Hold on. Let me give you guys the number. Oh, it's been delivered. Okay, it's on the front door porch. All right. It's been delivered, so I haven't heard from Flip Aquatics. He must not, he must not know it's on his front porch. He probably doesn't go to his front porch. He's probably too cool for all that. All right. What's up? See, Alvin Alejo just showed up. Good to see you, buddy. Alvin, do you have the link for the podcast? Throw the link for the podcast up there so people can grab it from the chat. Twin Cities Guppy says, I believe the auction and some go to the raffle as well after the contest. Oh, that's right. There's a shrimp raffle. I think some people can, like some of the shrimp get raffled off. Like you can get raffle tickets. I do remember that. And then, like I said, I'm not 100% sure, but I would show up early Friday, and at least like inquire about what you could buy. I would ask, because I think some of it's specific to the, I think all of it's specific to the people that brought it. And then I think that's what it, but there'll be a lot of shrimp there that you could buy. So Wes Barshinger is asking, Joel, can we send you stuff to the coop? Yes, you can send stuff to the Aquarium Co-op if you guys want me to get something. Like if you guys want to send me something, feel free. You can send it to the Aquarium Co-op. I don't have the hold on a minute. Let me see. Do I have the Oh, yeah. I'm not a robot. Yeah, I'm not a robot. Chapchka. Copy. Okay, copy that. I'm not a robot. Okay, Captcha guy. All right, there's a link there. It takes you over to the co-op. There you go. That'll be easy. Yes, you can send stuff to the Aquarium Co-op if you want. If you want to send some fan mail to me, make sure it's good. Make sure whatever fan mail is you send me, it's good. Hopefully, it's not creepy handwritten letters onto like paper plates that looks like somebody ate chicken wings off of them. You know what I mean? Like, don't send me that stuff. I'm not interested in it. That kind of stuff. I'm not. Might make a good YouTube video though. Yeah, don't put it on the people that work at the Aquarium Club. The lovely folks that work down there. Don't put it on those guys. Let's see. DeBert says, is that really Corey? Yes, that is really Corey. He's got the check mark and the wrench. So it's got to be Koopy. It's got to be Cordry. It's got to be him. Alyssa Bentley says, I feel like I just drained my shrimp tanks down to 1 inch of water and set them in the back of my new vehicle to move them next time, though. Now that my shrimp are shrimp only. Yes, agreed, Alyssa. I have done that lots of times with shrimp tank. It's pretty terrible with fish. I wouldn't necessarily recommend to try that method with fish, but I've done that lots of times with shrimp tank. You just want to make sure that you don't have too much hardscape in an aquarium if you're going to be moving it that way. A lot of tanks get broken and blown out that way from lifting them like that, with all that weight just on that bottom panel. A lot of aquariums these days, they're saving money and having the bottom panel be tempered glass, and that tempered glass is great as things kind of impact it or whatever, but when it's just sitting still, but as it's kind of jostling around and maybe something is going to fall and impact it, it will blow out the bottom of the tank. I've seen that a lot, and I do know, unfortunately, M. Howie posted the other day a tank that he blew out the side of, so that's one of those things. Alvin Alejo says it keeps erasing my links. Oh, sorry about that. My finger. I got this massive hangnail. Sorry about that. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Okay, so Alyssa says, yeah, my shrimp tanks are mostly plants, one stick, and shrimps. Yes, yeah. So if I've definitely transported shrimp in just an inch of water in the tanks with like no substrate in there whatsoever. But yeah, you can definitely do that. I've done it before. It's sort of just like using the tank like a bucket, and just and bringing them that way. DeBert it says death threats for magazine cutouts. Yeah, don't send me that either. I don't know. I'm gonna be a dad here soon, so I don't take that stuff super lightly like I used to. You know what I mean? Back in the day. Back in the day when people were super creepy. Super creepy. Let's see. Nope. 117 says, what's the per pound live rock price in your area? That's nice quality rock you have in that tank. Per pound is quite expensive. It can run as high as $8.99 per pound for live rock. As most of the Planet Tank people here might be a little bit confused when they say live rock. A big major component for filtering a reef aquarium, okay, a saltwater aquarium, is going to be the rock that I'm moving around in there. It is very porous, as compared to like river rock. It's very light. It has a lot of holes in it and stuff like that. Now, when we cycle a freshwater tank, we generally utilize porous stones like pumice. You guys know that I like the bio rings that are actually the manufactured stuff. I prefer that over the stuff that's just dug out of a hole. Personally, I prefer it. I find it to be much. Not only do I find it to be more effective, I find it to be a better deal for money spent. So. Now, in a reef, in the freshwater tank, all those little porous rocks and stuff like that are going to be filled with beneficial denitrifying bacteria and stuff like that. As a reef tank, all of this rock is just like that biological media that we would put in our filter in a freshwater aquarium. So all of this rock in here is very porous. And it's called live rock because it has live bacteria cultured throughout it. It's got little critters like copepods. Copepods are, I can't remember the name. What are the name? Oh, man, what are the freshwater? I'm drawing a blank. What are they? Seed shrimp and stuff like that. Yeah. And there are a lot of freshwater copepods out there, that are great food for your freshwater fish. Copepods also exist in saltwater, primarily saltwater. And one of the things is that the copepods are helpful in the fact that they eat a lot of waste and things that are left over, maybe a little bit leftover food that might be somewhere. But the main component for them, not only them doing that, but the main component for them after that fact is that fish feed on them regularly. Fish love them. It is like, it's like feeding live blackworms or whatever for your freshwater fish. And so this whole culture setup has to do with this live rock. So the live rock, the question that was being asked was, how much is it in my area? It is quite expensive here also, like I said, up to $8.99 a pound. So it can really, really add up. But the easy way around that is to get yourself some dry rock. Now, this is going to be rock that has never really been in an aquarium or anything like that. You can buy a box of that that's like 40 pounds. For somewhere in the range of $40. It's not too ridiculously priced. Honestly, it's pretty affordable. Let me a dry rock for a reef tank. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Oh my. Yeah, here's a 40-pounder that is copy paste. Here we go. So here's a 40-pounder that would come in dry and is Prime, so it's Amazon Prime, so you can just get sent to you basically for free, and it's $45 for a 40-pound box. So if you look at that, it's like $1 a pound, and then you can go to your local store, and then you can seed, and I'm putting a little air quotes around it when I say seed, the dry rock once it's kind of been in the tank for a couple of weeks and just kind of going through the cycle, or even only just a couple of days. You can seed it with some mature rock. So this is sort of like when you cycle a freshwater aquarium by utilizing someone else's already cycled biological media to seed all the biological media that you got going on. You can seed that with some smaller pieces that you could kind of post around there, and I find that to be the most economical way, and it really works out in the favor of the hobbyist, honestly, if you go that route. Because one of the great things about getting the dry rock is that it's dry, it's really easy to work with as you're setting up a new tank. So you can actually like break up the rocks, kind of cut things off, stack them the way that you want. You can even glue them together if you like, and it's a really economical way to go about it, because like I said, it's only going to be about it's going to be, what's the word that I'm thinking of here? It's going to be cheaper. It's going to be more economical in the long run, and work out pretty well. Trying to catch up with the chat here. Hello, everyone. Long time since I've been on. Trust everyone is fine. From Donald's Fish Vibes. What's up, Donald? Good to see you. Don't forget to hit that like button. CH Aquariums, good job, buddy. Yeah, we got to hit that like button, you guys. I have to remind everybody, hit the like button. Hit that like button and smush it with your face and karate chop it with your fist punching. I don't know, whatever. Do whatever you got to do to hit the like button. It's just life, I know that Tampa Tom's having a hell of a time out there with the with his dirty hands hitting that like button. He was willing to do it, so you guys should be willing to do it too. Okay, speaking of hitting a like button in a support type feature, here comes the commercial real quick, so deal with this for a second. If you haven't been to the Patreon page, there's the link for the Patreon page. Head on over there, check it out, see what's going on over there. That is how we crowdsource being able to do this show. I understand if you're one of those people out there that's like, oh, dude's asking for money. Okay, you know what? Cool. You got some kind of complaint. I get it. Whatever. There are a lot of people out there that complain about a lot of things, like other people, achieving their dreams. This is all part of achieving that dream, is from you guys supporting on the Patreon to help keep the lights on, pay the gas bill, fix all the broken stuff around here all the time, and keep content coming out to you guys. It takes me a better part of the day to be able to do this show. I don't have anybody here helping me or anything like that. So it really is just kind of the, it's just the reality of the thing. There's still bills to pay, and I really want to do this show. And thanks to the 301 people on there, as you guys can probably tell from last week, we lost a lot of Patreonizers over the weekend. I don't know why. It's still a mystery to me, but we lost a lot of Patreonizers over the weekend, and I don't know why. But because of you guys supporting and being able to do that stuff, we're being able to do this show and keep it going. I know that in the future, to be brutally honest with you guys, in the future, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to keep doing this show, obviously, because I'm going to have to get daycare. So it's even going to probably get even more expensive. I don't know how it's going to work out. I hope for the best, but, you know, we'll see how it goes. I don't know. Anyhow, that's enough of that nonsense. Let's stop talking about the old Patreon, because you guys have probably all already been there before. You guys have probably already been there and probably sick and tired of hearing me talk about it. And, you know, you're not wrong, you know. Satom Aquatics says, hey. Twin Cities Guppies says, yes, Scott. I'm guessing that's who Scott is. Fancy Tales says, I mean, people don't consider the costs in making these videos, buying fish, supplies, food, bills, and so on. Yep, you're right. I don't think most people do consider the costs. And oftentimes when I hear people complaining about it, they're like, yeah, well, you know, if it's too expensive for you to do YouTube, you know, like maybe you just shouldn't do YouTube. And it's always some guy that's like got 4 subscribers and just some of the worst content you've ever seen. And it's like, really, dude? You know, I don't hear anybody with a million subscribers saying that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't hear anybody out there who's doing really well saying those kinds of things. You know what I mean? It's always some weird dude who like just started his account like 2 months ago, like out there in the ether, just like tripping about some nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of bizarre, realistically. You know, I you know, you don't ever hear Peter McKinnon being like, yeah, you know, maybe you should just not do it then. You know what I mean? Like, do you guys ever hear Casey Neistat going like, you know what you should do is not do what you want to do? You know what I mean? Like, you should just not work on it and like, you know, not try to make it happen, you know? It's super funny. Like, I always hear from the successful, happy people, or the successful people, that they're always like encouraging other people to keep going. You know what I mean? Which, I get it. Compared to some people, I'm doing really, really well. I don't think we haven't hit the goal yet. You know what I mean? So, you know, I have to remain pragmatic and remember that, you know, I just have to stay pragmatic and just keep working at it. And hopefully someday we'll be able to do more of the videos and stuff like that, that I want to do in the future. And a lot of that has to do with, like, you know, flying out to people's houses and helping them with their aquariums. You know, that's one of the big things that I want to do. If you guys noticed over the weekend, I did upload another sort of a walkthrough of a hosted video, right? Like, you know, we actually, you know, young Master Zeke, you know, Zeke is an awesome kid. Well, I say kid, young man. He's almost 18. So, he's a great guy out there in, Minnesota. We got to look at some of his tanks. I'm very excited to see what he comes up with in the future. You know, realistically, the goal is to be able to do some more of that kind of stuff, you know, and even be, you know, in the reality terms is to be even more involved and be able to show up and do more than just like, hey, I'm going to check out your aquariums for a couple minutes and shoot a video and then we got to drive away, you know. So we'll see how it goes. You know, that ultimately is my plan, realistically. Will that work out? I don't know. Will it not? Or will it work out? I don't know. Will it not work out? I don't know. I just don't know. But that really is the goal. So we're just hopefully just moving ever forward, trying to get closer and closer to that goal. And like I said, it's almost always like just the wildly unsuccessful people that are always like, you know what? Which, you know, I think it's funny. Twin Cities Guppy says that young man has some great aquascaping skills. I agree. He does definitely have some great skills, and I think if he continues to work on them, as I hopefully portrayed in the video, is that he practices a lot. You know, he one of the things that I couldn't you know, that one of the things that he couldn't do or that he didn't want us to see, is that he actually has a practice aquascaping space, right? He actually has a practice aquascaping space where he actually does work, and just practices over and over and over again. It's just like a wooden box. It's the typical thing that you've seen before. I'll show you guys how to build one, because I have to set up a new one for the 120 so that I can show you guys how I practice scaping and stuff. I'll show you guys what up with that. And you guys be able to build that yourself. It's super easy. It's not, even if you can't build things, you could probably even just go down to the Home Depot and tell them to cut what you want, and then put it together yourself. And nothing super crazy, but Zeke goes and he practices all the time. That's why he got good. You know what I mean? So so hopefully that's like a little bit inspirational for you guys, and a little bit explanational for you guys. You know what I mean? Like he didn't just wake up one day and be good at the piano and the violin and aquascaping. It's like he's been practicing at it. So, but awesome dude, and I hope to see what he keeps going. The reason I was talking about it is because I'd like to be able to bring more of that stuff to you guys. So. You know how it goes. Lacrimosa is here. What's up? Stephen Law says, you not coming to the UK? I would love to come to the UK. Last time I talked to George Farmer, we discussed possibly doing something like that. As you guys know, I have a baby on the way. So the next couple months at least, I'm not I'm not traveling at all. It's going to be at least 2 months that I'm not traveling. As soon as the baby comes, I'm going to be here for 2 months and not traveling anywhere. So, and all of the potential people that I talked to about, travel and some of those trips that could be coming up, I already told them. I was like, the baby's on the way. I am not going anywhere after the baby. So the soonest that would be, probably March or April or something like that. The Aquatic Gardeners Association is actually here next year, and that's in May. If you guys are interested in the Aquatic Gardeners Association, my boy and your guy Corey over at the Aquarium Co-op is one of the main. He is one of the main, what do you call it, sponsors. He's a platinum sponsor or something like that. Hey, he's the top sponsor of the AGA convention that is going to be out here. So if you guys are interested to come to that would be a great opportunity to meet myself. You could meet Corey, potentially. I don't know. But it will be pretty cool. Like Ramosa says, you'll have to live stream sometime with my baby. Yes, I do have plans. The best laid plans of mice and men and all that, right? It's a little bit ridiculous, but I do have some plans on what to do with the baby so that I can continue filming and stuff like that. I also have, I also have some plans about how I'm going to be able to shoot and stuff. I've been talking to some people that had to shoot with a baby, and actually some family that we discussed some of the tactics of shooting with a baby and whatnot. So I think I got some ideas. of how to navigate it and still be able to produce the quality content that I like to produce. Hopefully it continues to get better, Hopefully it doesn't suddenly just get super worse, But as you guys know, it's still a building project here. We still have just a webcam and the other webcam. But at some point in time, I am going to have to upgrade to have some slightly better equipment. But I've also got some ideas for that, of how I'm going to be able to manage that on pretty shoestring action. We'll probably keep it as cheap as possible. You know what I mean? Stefan Law says, do you not ship to the UK? I don't ship to the UK. I don't ship anything. I don't sell nothing. So yeah, I don't know. Statom Aquatics says, love your videos, man, with the super chat, Canadian $2.79. I like that. That's kind of a specific number. That's kind of a very specific number. I like that. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate you watching the videos, man. Let's always not forget how important the sharing of the videos are now. I was recently reading a pretty big report in regards to organic growth nowadays. Nowadays, pretty much every website wants you to pay. Whether it be Facebook, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Instagram, whether it's Snapchat, I mean, Vimeo, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter which site anymore. Nowadays, they all want you to pay in order for things to get promoted. So I do have to remind all you guys, there are 109 people watching right now. The 109 people, it really is important to jump onto your own social media and share stuff out that you like. Maybe not even my videos. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you don't like my videos enough to do that, which is fine. Maybe you like Lucas Bretz. Maybe you like Bob Steenfott. Maybe you like Flip Aquatics. Maybe you like Aquapros. Maybe you like Aquarium Co-op or something like that. It doesn't matter to me. Just as a reminder, if there's something that you guys really like, it is very important nowadays for you guys to share it out with your little neck of the woods. You know what I mean? Because things nowadays are just not going to get promoted. You know, they just aren't going to get promoted by the platforms themselves unless they're getting paid. And I just don't have any money to do that. So, you know, and I don't know a lot of people that do have money to pay every time something's gonna go. But we do have a super chat here from Statom Aquatics, a $5.49 Canadian super chat. It says we're fish food. Maybe I'll use that for Facebook shares. I don't know. Maybe that's like super chat for advertising dollars. Right? Isn't that how that goes? So we could promote it. Sorry, guys. I needed to grab my other mouse. I don't know. Has this even been an entertaining show today? I wonder if anybody even learned anything today. I don't know. Maybe yeah, maybe not. What is this? What? No, I'm getting blasted by all sorts of nonsense. Well, Aquarium Co-op just uploaded a new video. I don't think I'm going to be first to that one, because I'm live on the internet right now. Noob Phobo says, I tried to share it and it erased itself due to the fact that I didn't have the rights to it or something like that. You probably can't upload it. That's probably the issue. So, yeah, like if you go to YouTube, like there's a button on there that actually says share. Or you can go up to the URL and copy the URL and share it like that. If you try to upload it as a video, which is possible, it'll give you a copy strike because you don't own the rights to it. But yeah, either way. Kira Witt says, I try to share, but unfortunately I'm not much help. I'm the only fish keeper I know in real life. You would be surprised. You would be super surprised. The weird people that I never thought ever even had anything to do with fish tanks would be like, man, I found your YouTube channel, bro. I didn't even realize you kept fish tanks. You know, it'd be like some weird bartender dude that I worked with 15 years ago. That's like, you know, like some dude that rides motorcycles and he's all tattooed and he's tough and he works at the bar, you know, and then they'll like come out and like, man, I didn't realize that you did fish tank stuff, man. I watched a bunch of your videos and and I'm like, what? You do fish? Weird. Okay. You know, so, you know, it is kind of interesting. Like the people that, there are a lot of people out there that just kind of come out of the woodwork that I never even thought even had an interest in fish tanks or anything like that. So, it does span a lot of the people that you might not know. That you might not know are interested in it, you know. Gillett says Joe Rogan. I don't know why he says. Joel Gillett says thanks for the super chat. Super chats, super people. Thanks, man. Aquarium Co-op has a good point right there. It says, to be fair, a share, even without anyone else being interested, still sends a giant signal to the platform that you liked it enough to share it. That's a good point. That's a great point, is that if you actually went and hit the share button and shared it out to somewhere else, it even tells YouTube that, like, oh, here's somebody who's like, somebody's making something and they're like really interested in it. And that goes into consideration. That goes into consideration big time from because most of YouTube and all that kind of stuff is it's robot driven at this point. Like, the computers are all running it. It's not somebody actually sitting there and like moving things around on an abacus, you know what I mean? So it's actually just a machine that's just going like, oh, all right, 40 people out of here shared it. That's a lot. Maybe we should promote this. Let's see. That's just the reality of the age we live in, you guys. It's almost 2019, which means it's almost going to be 2020, which I remember when I was a kid. They used to talk about, in the year 2020, there will be flying cars and robots falling from the sky. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my gosh, I just got responded from Arsenal. They say, orders placed after March 31st, 2018 will begin shipping the week of October 15th and complete within 2 weeks per our latest update. Man, I don't know about you guys, but I kept seeing all these ads for the Arsenal, right? I don't know if you guys know what the Arsenal is. It is a thing that it's essentially a tool that you add to your camera that makes it a lot easier to take really fancy pictures with a camera like this. Now, one of the things that I find difficult in photography to do is a thing called stacking. So when you open up a magazine and you see like a really fancy landscape picture or something like that, and it just has this real vibe to it, like I can kind of almost see like what it's like to be there right now. Typically that's done with 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 different pictures all layered on top of each other. Now, I find that to be, I can do it, but I find it super difficult to actually take all the shots and then, go in and edit them all together. I find it to be really, really difficult personally for me to put those shots together. I'm going to find it, or what the Arsenal tool is hopefully it is a tool that you're able to do that. You basically put it on your camera, you basically like hook it up to your camera, and it does that within the camera, and it'll give you one, it'll take 6 exposures, stack them all together, and then save it onto your card in your camera so that you can just come home, download them into your computer and then upload them to whatever site you want or whatever. Now, one of the reasons I got this was I wanted to, it was like $200 and I was sort of on the fence about it. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put it on the credit card. I'll book some jobs later. I'll pay it off, which I did. Not a big deal. But here we are. The main reason I had ordered it was like, I'll probably get that in time for the aquatic experience, because they said it was going to ship out that if we ordered, it would ship out by October. So I placed mine on the 25th with, hold on, let me go back up here. So the 25th, which is exactly a month ago, is when I ordered mine. Exactly a month ago, and I was like, in a month's amount of time, they'll be able to send me one. Nope, they have not sent me one.
So far, I'm giving the Arsenal folks a 0, right? Now, the other reason I ordered this tool is that it might make it way easier for my spouse to use my other camera, okay? There's a lot of stuff I do going around. I run around with my camera. I take video. I do this. I do that. Blah, 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 blah. I'm around the tool a lot. I utilize it a lot. Victoria is not around it very often. She doesn't use them very often, and it can become really frustrating. It can become really frustrating to utilize a camera like mine that you don't know where all the buttons are. You don't really understand certain functions on the camera, like, where's this? Where's that? How does this work? What is this thing? What did I do? Whereas the Arsenal will really help Vicky be able to, utilize the camera in a way that I think would be great for her. You can set it up on a tripod. It hooks up to your phone, and you're able to, take shots with your phone. You don't even have to be holding the camera. So maybe she's holding the baby, or I'm holding the baby, or whatever. Either way, we've just been hiking and this and that, and she maybe wants to take some pictures of some trees or a stream or something or a mountain or whatever. It's going to make it way easier for her to be able to utilize the camera. And I wanted to order it so I could get it for the aquatic experience and then really try it out at a place like the aquatic experience, which is almost a disaster to take pictures of anything. Like, the glare on the tanks is crazy. There's people wandering around. There's all sorts of stuff going on. And it would be, it would, it's like the craziest place to try and take pictures of stuff. It would really just like save a lot of time or whatever. It would just be a really good tool if it would work out really well at the aquatic experience. Now I'm not going to be able to bring it to the aquatic experience, so that's kind of a drag. Why aren't these people on the ball at all? I don't even understand. They couldn't even send me an email. I had to email them to be like, what's the deal? Like, they didn't even have an automated email set up just to send out a weekly email. Like, how much does it cost to send out a weekly email? I don't know. The printing costs are probably pretty cheap, I think. Twin Cities Guppy says, if you share it and they see Joel's good looks, they might just start them in the hobby. Thanks, man. That's a pretty bold statement. I don't know if, yeah. Noob Phobo says, how do you raise your KH, carbonate hardness? I put in Cuttlebone, and the KH went down, but the GH went up. I think my mystery snail is eating all of the KH. Personally, if I really, really, really wanted to raise the KH in my tank, I use, baking soda is what I would use if I really needed to bump it up and get it to a healthy level quickly. And that's just really what I would do. Is I just probably would add some once a week and just go that route. I use the Wonder Shell. Helps me jump up the calcium and a little bit of those extra minerals and stuff like that. The minerals and spices, we got to get those minerals and spices in our tanks sometimes, and and sometimes that's important. That's important to get in there. And I use the Wonder Shell personally for that. It seems to be a little more economical for me and way easier to keep track of. Oops, what did I do here? Oop, sorry, I clicked the wrong button. What is this doing? Why? Okay, sorry guys, I hit the wrong button and I gotta reopen the chat. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. Let's catch up with the rest of the chat and see what's going on here. But yeah, just some baking soda would probably be the easiest way, or Wonder Shell. Personally, I like to go that way. I got mine from the Aquarium Co-op, so if you're interested in that, that's where it's at. Otherwise, maybe, what do you call it? Maybe Amazon has it. I'm not sure. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, yeah. There's another thing I wanted to talk about. I got my Pinnatifida, and boy, howdy, is it doing good. I would highly recommend you guys buy out the Pinnatifida. The Hygro Pinnatifida, as I mentioned, this Hygro Pinnatifida I got was all the broken ones. It was all of the broken ones, and it is honestly, like, I don't know, man. This strain is pretty gangster, I have to admit. And it has like 100% rebounded and is doing awesomely well. And I'm pretty excited to get the new 120 set up because those are going to be going in there. Now, I'm wondering if somebody out there is really interested in like having a Pinnatifida grow off competition. I don't know if anybody's going to have a competition with me, but if you don't know what plant I'm talking about, there's a link right there. It'll take you right to that plant and you can look at it, but I definitely loved it, and it's pretty good. Lacrimosa is asking, what's the best tank size for beginner of saltwater, and what type of system would you recommend? Fowler, etc. Realistically, I think that the best size aquarium for somebody to start out with would be, as far as a reef tank goes, would be a 40-gallon breeder. They are a great footprint for a reef tank, first of all, like height, depth, width, all that kind of stuff. Works out great. And then, you can hook a sump up to it really easily. That is debatable whether or not you would want to do that. I personally would. I feel like it's just part of the process. It's just realistically like part of the process, honestly, is learning how to get the sump, learning how to get the overflow to work properly and all that kind of stuff, get it drilled. If there's somebody local like me where you're at and that can come out and drill it for you, then that's a pretty good deal. So I would get into that if that's the case, but I would definitely start out with a 40-gallon breeder. And like I said earlier, I would, for anybody out there who's getting started, that box of dry rock that I posted, let me see if I still have a link for it. Yep, I do. Copy and paste. So this dry rock right here will be the best bet. Personally, I just stands the test of time. You can break it into bits. You can get some. Let me see if I can find the reef glue. Let me see if I can find reef glue that's the correct one. Instant Ocean Holdfast. I mean, that one works. Ocean Wonders. Here you go. This is the one that I like. It's a 2-part epoxy from Ocean Wonders. I really like this one a lot better than the other ones I've used. That one works pretty darn well, along with the Instant Ocean one. I don't like. That one doesn't work very well. Let me see if I can't find another one. Why not? Let me see here. What if I go like this? Does that... Oh, yeah, that gives me options for days. It gives me options. Options. All right. But either way, that one will work quite well. And that's one that you could definitely go with. The salt that I would recommend for most people would be... This one is the Fritz brand. I don't know if I could find like a better link for you. I would definitely go with either the Fritz brand, which is that one right there, or let's see, where is it? I have to find. Come on. Let me see if I can find it here. They do not make it easy to find their reef salt. Come on. Hold on. Salt. Salinity salt mix. Is that a way to do it? I don't know. I can't seem to find it. Apparently, Seachem doesn't sell their salt on... I don't know. Seachem salinity. Maybe? No. I guess maybe they don't. They don't sell it on it. They don't sell it on Amazon for some reason. I don't know. Okay, so I don't know why Seachem salt is not on there. I like the salinity. I like the Fritz. And Kent Marine has worked fairly well for me in the past, but they do have kind of inconsistent salt and stuff like that. Obviously, a heater, water pumps, all that kind of stuff is going to be your thing. But if you start out with a 40-gallon breeder, that dry rock, you can break up all that dry rock, glue it all together in the tank how you like with that 2-part epoxy that I have listed there that you can click on. You can check that out. And then you can make your whole scape ahead of time. Right? You don't even need to put water in the tank or anything like that. So you can build the whole scape in there with the 2-part epoxy, and then from there, you can eventually start filtering your water and making seawater. A fowler tank, if people are confused with what a fowler is, it's an acronym. So fish only with live rock. Fowler. Fowlr. Fish only with live rock is what Fowler stands for. So what that stands for is that you would have fish and the live rock, and that's it. I don't necessarily recommend that to people because I feel like a fish only with live rock tank is like, you've set everything up, you might as well get some corals. Now, there are a lot of corals that you're going to have to stay away from until you get essentially some fancy lights. The lights that I have on this aquarium right here are, believe it or not, the Fluval 3.0 reef lights. And what is it? They're not the 3.0. They're Fluval. What are they called? C and something. C LED. What are they called? This is the Fluval C. Yeah, I guess it's just a Fluval C. Yeah. Because I have a 24-inch by 24-inch cube, I got the 24-inch ones, right? They're working great, and they honestly, they're working out quite well. I have to say, I haven't had any problems with them. The only downside is that if they do get 100% unplugged, you do have to reconnect your Bluetooth to them. I finally have gotten them to do that. I finally have gotten them to do that thing that everybody kept telling me about. That was like, man, this keeps happening and it's screwed up and whatever. Because I'd figured out a setting that was when they would lose their power, that they just come on at full strength. It's somewhere in the app that you can just have it turn on fully, right? If it turns off or loses the power because you have it on a light timer. Where is this stupid light on here? Because that's not the right one. Let me see. Because that's the old one. This looks like the old one. Yeah. Well, either way. This is the old one. I don't know where the new one is. Yeah, because this is the old one that doesn't have Bluetooth and stuff. I don't know. I can't find it on Amazon. But either way, I actually have the Fluval lights on here. They're working quite well. And, like I said, I found within the app that controls the phone or the light from your phone, you can actually turn it to just the the manual instead of auto. And then if it's on the manual setting, you just turn it to whatever you want. And then when it loses power, it just comes back on at whatever you had it set before. If that makes any sense to you. So if you have it on auto and it's following the timer and it loses power, it will lose whatever the timer was until you hook the Bluetooth back up. So once you hook the Bluetooth back up, they will go back on, the timer will turn back on and everything, and it will just be automated again. But if you want it to work off of a timer, you have to put it on the manual. And then once it's on manual, you can utilize like an old school timer that's in the outlet, and then it will just come back on and off whenever it gets power to whatever it was set to. It doesn't have to save anything other than the light setting, and it will work fine. So I think it has to do with people that have it set to the automatic setting and an old manual light timer. I think that's the big issue. But realistically, if you got the 40 breeder, you got that live rock all set in there, or you got the dry rock all set in there and all scaped up, and then you go get some chunks of seed rock from a local store that has good, healthy rock at it. That's something that's like you might spend $30 or something like that. Nothing totally crazy. And let's say you had one or two of these fluval lights over it. You could grow pretty much any of the beginner corals. So you're talking about zoanthids. You're talking about pallies. You're talking about like that candy cane coral that's right here. This really bright. Let me turn on the whiteboard so I can circle it. So this really bright coral right here, I actually picked that up from a friend of mine who was breaking down all of his aquariums. It's basically the one coral that he had was just this candy cane coral. It's actually a really easy coral to take care of as long as you keep your water clean, and very rarely do you have to feed them. It's not a hard one to feed or anything like that. There's nothing complicated about it. So it would be a perfect starter coral along with like zoanthids and things like that. Like I said earlier in the stream, if you were to go to a store that carries a lot of coral, they will definitely be ready to help you out. Like I said, most of the people that work at a Reef store have a really good idea of what's going on, and often have lots and lots of fish tanks themselves. So Bentley says he'll go against me. I might have a head start. Mine are already taking off like crazy. Well, Bentley, I'm always in a competition with you, bruh. I gotta win or something. I'm not sure. Cruz Schroeder says, I agree with the 40 breeder. That's some first saltwater reef tank. Yes. Personally, I think it's the great one to go with. It's like a 40 breeder is the great one to start with. This one's a 60-gallon cube, and I also have a what size is the sump on this one? We got a new ruby sump by Trigger. And if Trigger is out there watching this, I would like a sump. None of the sump companies that we ever talked to were like, yeah, we want to sponsor something. But maybe Trigger. I've never talked to Trigger about maybe sponsoring a sump. I don't know. The local sump builder guys were just like, yeah, whatever, man. This is $600. So if you want this one, it's $600. It's like, cool, man. I don't have $600. See you later. Much as I like those guys and everything, it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, cool. Rogue Aquariums is building a 600-gallon aquarium. If you guys don't know, I will definitely be going over there to make a video about that as that's getting set up. So, I'll try to keep you guys posted, and I know Rogue is making videos now, so if you get, his name's Darren, so if I say Darren, that's who I'm talking about. If you guys pay attention to his channel, he'll be posting some videos of that. The chromis seem to pick each other off one at a time. Yes, chromis will do that. Chromis are a really cheap fish. They're a strong schooling fish, though, so they're really good. If you think of them, chromis would be like neon tetras, or even what's a cheaper tetra? I don't know. Let's just say they're like neon tetras of the saltwater community. They basically just get sprinkled into tanks and not necessarily a lot of the people paying attention to exactly what is going on with the chromis, and I don't know, and they're kind of rude too. They're kind of rude fish. I don't know. I've never been a big fan of the chromis, other than when people have like 1,000 of them in a reef tank. That's pretty wild, personally. Nopey 177 or 117 says, going to be starting a rock flower anemone breeding project. Any tips or tricks? Starting with 50 nems. Not sure if you've seen this. Not trying to spam. Oh my God. You're going to get 50 flower nems? Can I borrow some nems, bro? Oh my God. How are you getting that many? Oh my God. Did you inherit Paul Allen's money? It's too soon for that. It's too soon for that. Sorry, guys. It's too soon. Did you inherit Paul Allen's money? I don't know. Flower nems are one of my favorite things. Any tips or tricks? You're going to have 100% stable water all of the time. With flower nems, I personally would go with some big frag tanks. If you don't know what frag tanks are, I've actually got one in the back of my truck right now. I was trying to trade it to Rogue Aquariums, but he just wasn't interested. But I got a frag tank in the back of my truck right now. It's 12 inches tall, 24 inches front to back, and it's 48 inches wide. So it's a pretty cool little tank, pretty cool little layout. That is exactly what I would get if I was going to be breeding flower nems, because you really have the ability to maintain the flow the way that you want and to keep the lights very consistent for the flower anemones. That's going to be your biggest concern for those guys, is maintaining the flow. Obviously, water quality is almost always a concern, right? So take that into consideration. You always got to have flow, clean water, but lighting is going to be the biggest issue. You don't want to overpower them, but you also don't want to underlight them. If there's not enough light for them, it will be problematic. And flower anemones will move around to the spots that they really like, but I also don't like to necessarily allow them to have an opportunity to fail. You know what I mean? So you definitely want to set up a tank like that with just substrate in it and just give them a real chance to go. Bentley Pascal says a 50 low boy, huh? It is glass one. It is not an acrylic one. It is a glass one, not the acrylic type. So as Bentley says, he says cryptocrine and Anubias growing tank. Yes, yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Nope, he says splitting a big wholesale order with my local fish store owner. And funny you mentioned the frag tank. I'm running a 125 footprint tank that is only 8 inches tall, stocking and maturing the rocks currently. Okay, yeah, I think honestly that's going to be the best thing. That would be the best setup for the flower anemones, personally. If you're going to try to breed them and keep them all, I wouldn't put other stuff in there with them, realistically, if that's what I was doing. That's going to be a tank that would be a tank that's like a King Kong crystal shrimp breeding tank. Like, you just really got to pay attention to it and know exactly what's going on with it at all times. And other fish and other critters and stuff like that is just not going to be a great idea, personally. Woo! All right. Ultimate Fish Keeping is a very stunning fish in that aquarium. Yes, there are some really nice fish in there. I'm pretty happy with how it's coming along. I do have to rehome a couple of fish out of here so that I can start adding some of the other fish that I really want to add to the tank. Stanley Showstack, my son and myself are setting up a discus tank. Any suggestions on plants and aquascaping in a 75-gallon with a 29-gallon sump? So with a discus tank like that set up, I think personally the best way to go with a discus tank is always low maintenance plants, some good vertical driftwood. So you'd want to think about things like Java fern, Anubias, things like that can withstand the giant water changes that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to fill and drain, or have some kind of automated water changing system. So you're definitely going to need some of the more bulletproof plants that can handle whether they got to be out of the water or not, this, that kind of stuff. But that huge turnover of water, you definitely don't want plants for that. Discus will knock loose a lot of plants too. So I highly recommend to grow in the tank first before you add the discus. So it's like, so it's ready to go and not going to be interfered with. My nose was whistling. That was ridiculous. Oh, that's still ridiculous. All right. Well, hopefully that was some decent advice. I don't know. Consider river rocks and stuff like that with the discus and not any other kind of sharp and pointy rocks. Personally, I just would keep them. What is that? That was weird. Nope says only other thing in that tank will be zoanthids on racks up high, hoping the rock nymphs don't interfere, not stocking any fish or invertebrates. Yeah. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't stock any fish or invertebrates. I guess a conch would be okay, but I personally would even think twice about. I would think twice about even. I would even think twice about considering. Snails and stuff like that. Like I wouldn't even probably put snails or anything like that in there. DeBert says Elodea canadensis. I first of all, I hate that plant and I would never even have it, and it's illegal to have it in my state. So Elodea just bugs me. And then watercress milfoil. I hate milfoil too. Super invasive plants. So I'm just of the inclination to be like, I don't like those plants. I mean, I get it. I like them. I like the greenery and stuff like that. But they're super invasive and they kill off a lot of good stuff in my state. So super illegal and super easy to introduce into the waterways and really ruin a lot of good stuff. Lakes, rivers, all sorts of stuff. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. I got to get rolling. I got more stuff to clean up. Stanley Showstack says, thanks, bro. I miss you on the Real Fish Talk. You should put these to a podcast like Corey does. Yes, we do. We do put these out on a podcast. Look up my channel name on Podbean, and you'll be able to find it. I'm gonna figure out how to post the link onto the videos and stuff. These bunch of the old ones are uploaded as a podcast if you want to listen to those, or you can just download them from YouTube if you like. There's a download button on YouTube, so you can download the episodes if you want to listen to them later on while you're driving around in your car. I want to say thanks to all the patronizers. Thanks for coming out and patronizing and doing all that. Sad to see so many people go this weekend, but ever forward. You know what I mean? We just got to go ever forward. That's just how it goes. I'm sorry to see people go. Maybe I did something wrong, right? I think that's like a clue into human nature, right? I think that's a clue into human nature. Like people go away and they don't want to, or they don't want to, or they can't support anymore, or something like that. My initial stupid brain thought is like, what did I do wrong? And it's like, it's probably not even about me, right? Like it's like maybe somebody lost their job or something, and I should be thinking about other people first. Yes, I do have to remind myself that kind of stuff. I have to remind myself to not be ridiculous sometimes, and I'm just admitting it here, that yes, we all have to remind ourselves to just remember that other people got stuff going on too, Right? Right. I want to give a big shout out to the super chatters of the day. M. Howie 9, Rogue Aquariums, Megan Ness, and Statam twice. Well, thank you very much, you guys. I hope you learned something today. I don't know. I thought it was just kind of a fun show, and I wanted to show off the Reef tank a little bit. I have a edited video on that coming out, and hopefully this is a precursor to that video, and then you guys will be like, oh yeah, man, that's what he was talking about. So hope everyone has a fantastic night out there. Don't light off any fireworks. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do. Don't even, well, I guess there's a lot of things that I wouldn't do that you guys could probably be fine with doing. But you know what I mean. Just stay safe out there. Don't light off any fireworks in your living room. It's nuts. Later.